I cut the check, I cut the check, I cut the check. Tell my niggas we up next, so we up next. She shot a text, she shot a text, she shot a text. Kill the I might put the different day, put a nigga on that same shit. I've been ballin' with my niggas, Kevin Cambridge. Oh, you drippy, but you better tuck your chain quick.
What's good, y'all? We back with another video. Today we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but first off I want to say like and subscribe. My mock draft videos, it keep going up. I got like 300 views now, so for the people that's watching that, please watch these other videos, like and subscribe. We do everything over here and it's really fun in this community, so like and subscribe. Thank you for watching my videos. But to get into it, we got a little bit to talk about today. I want to, since the playoffs are coming up in like a couple of weeks, I just want to talk about some players and some teams that we should be looking out for going into the playoffs, because I feel like we're going to have a really exciting playoffs, especially on the East side. Like, you look at the top teams, yeah, we got the Bucks, the Heat, the Nets, and the 76ers. They're the top teams. But like, seeing these young teams going against each other in the playoffs is going to be fun. Like the Celtics, I mean not the Celtics, the Hawks are the 4th seed, the Hornets are the 5th seed. When LaMelo and Gordon Hayward come back, and then you get Clint Capella, and you get this healthy Hawks team, them two going against each other in the 4th and 5th seed in the playoffs. If that are the same seeds going into the playoff, that'll be a really exciting series, really exciting. So I'm really looking forward to this playoff this year. And then you got the West side. Like, if you're number one, if you're the Jazz, you can possibly face the Warriors in the first round, and that can be a major upset. So it's gonna be a really exciting playoffs. But going into this playoffs, I want to talk about some players that's actually been stepping up their game lately, and that I feel like going into the playoffs they should be really looked out for. So my first player, I want to talk about Kristaps Porzingis. Now the thing about Kristaps is he can never stay healthy, and then when he comes back, it takes him a little time to get back to where he was before he got healthy. But when Kristaps is healthy, this Maverick team is scary. Let me take you back to last year. They were beating the Clippers bad. Even before that, Kristaps and Luka was 2 MVPs playing. They were playing like 2 MVP candidates last year in the beginning of the bubble. Kristaps was averaging like 30 and 15, and Luka was just averaging a 30-point triple-double. They were taking over the bubble, to be honest. They were taking over the bubble. Even though they didn't win every game like the Suns did, they were basically taking over the bubble. But back then, they were just going crazy. And then you go into the playoffs. A lot of people had the Mavericks upsetting the Clippers. And I was one of those people, bro. Because I'm like, the Clippers, it's just, their team last year, it wasn't at all what it was meant to be. Something was missing. It was definitely something was missing. And I expected them to win. And if Kristaps didn't get ejected that first game, because they were beating up on the Clippers bad, and he got ejected. So they lost that game. And then the game after that, he's out with a knee injury, so he misses the rest of the series. If Kristaps never got hurt, a lot of people, including me, believed that the Mavericks would have won that series. And Luka tried his best. I think they lost like 4-1 that series. Luka tried his best, had that one amazing 46-point triple-double game-winning shot. That game was real fun. But he tried his best, but I feel like if they had Kristaps, they would have beat them. They would have beat them easily. But then you go into this year, Kristaps starts off hurt again. And he comes back, and then he's in trade talks. And I'm like, bro, I understand wanting to trade him because he can't stay healthy. But that's the thing, like, you're not really gonna get nothing for Kristaps' value. Because let's say you trade him, and now he doesn't get hurt no more. That's a big if, because that boy gets hurt. He gets hurt a lot. He just got hurt last week, but he came back like the game after. But that's a big if. And let's say he gets traded and he doesn't get hurt no more. Then you just start going crazy. You're going to look dumb for that, because I feel like this duo right here in the next 2 to 3 years, if Mark Cuban or whoever their GM, if they put the right people around them, this team can win a championship in the next 2 to 3 years. They just need another shot creator. They need another shot creator and like a deeper bench, and they'll be good. So I feel like, and then, let me go back to where I was at. He came back after his injury, and he's in trade talks. And then he comes back and he's playing bad, and that's of course, you're going to be playing bad, especially when you come back from a bad injury. I think he had like a torn meniscus, something wrong with his knee. And he came back, was playing bad. It was in trade talks. But the last month or so, Kristaps been doing this thing, and the Mavericks been doing their thing. They were like the 13th seed at one point, and all the Knicks fans were so excited. They were hoping they would be trash because they're trash. Then the Knicks get their pick, and that pick could be top 5 while the Knicks are in the playoffs. So they're probably gonna have like 18 to 15 pick. So you get a 15 to 18 pick, and you get like a top 5 pick because the Mavericks, they were trash. They were trash. Not gonna lie, they were trash. So they were hoping the Mavericks would be trash. But in the last month, they've been stepping it up lately. Luka has finally been looking like an MVP candidate, and then he has his running mate with him, Kristaps. He's been doing good these last few months. And then another player that doesn't really get talked about, Jalen Brunson, bro. They installed Jalen Brunson into that starting lineup, and the Mavericks have been rolling ever since. Having Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench was a really good idea for Rick Carlisle. But Jalen Brunson he's been adding a little spice to that team, man. I like that team with Jalen Brunson at the 2. I still feel like they need another shot creator. Like, if, let's say, this Bulls thing doesn't work out and they want to trade Zach LaVine, go get Zach LaVine at all costs. Don't trade your top 2, even though you might have to trade your top 2 because Zach LaVine is just that good. But if you don't have to trade your top 2, try to get Zach LaVine for something, and that team will be ready to win a championship if they get Zach LaVine. But in the last 11 games, Kristaps has been doing this thing, so I want to focus on him. In the last 11 games, he's been averaging 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And the thing that stands out to me is his blocks. He's finally getting back to his his shot blocking ways that he was in New York, and that he was lacking in his first year with the Mavericks. He was kind of a liability in the post, and he still is. Like, if you get like a Joel Embiid or a Jokic or Anthony Davis, they're still going to body him. But he's starting to get a lot more blocks now, starting to be a better shot blocker. And this team is rolling, man. He's still playing a 5, so maybe they don't need a 5, but this team is rolling, man. I don't know what their record is in the last 10 games. And now looking at my notes, that is something that I forgot to do. But they've been doing good lately. I can actually look that up. In their last 10 games, they're 6-4. And before that, they were on like a 5-game winning streak. And right now, they're the 7th seed. 2 games behind the Trailblazers. They can definitely do that. But if the season was to end right now, they would have to play the Grizzlies. If they beat the Grizzlies, they're in the they're in the playoffs, because, like I said, it's a play-in series this year. So the 7th and the 8th seed will have to play each other, and whoever wins that is a certified 7th seed, and then the 8th seed will have to play the loser of the 9th versus 10th seed, which is the Spurs and the Warriors as of now. And I feel like that's how it's going to be at the end of the season, because the Kings they'll win 3 games in a row, and then they'll lose the next 5. And then the Pelicans, I don't know. Like, my Cavs, we played the Pelicans yesterday. We didn't have Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Larry Nance, Jared Allen, Damian Dotson, Dylan Wheeler. It was a couple plays we were missing. It was a lot of plays we were missing, and we almost beat them. And they were fully healthy except Lonzo. And Lonzo was a big piece, but you have B.I. and Zion. You're supposed to dominate, especially against that nasty lineup we had. You're supposed to dominate, and they didn't. So I kind of see the 1 through 10 right now: Jazz, Suns, Clippers, Nuggets, Lakers, Trailblazers, Mavericks, Grizzlies, Spurs, Warriors. That's the 10 that's going into the playing games, and we'll see. But I feel like the Mavericks, with Kristaps playing like this, they're going to be really hard to beat in the playoffs. My number 2 player, Jimmy Butler, man. I don't know if you guys realize it, but like ever since Jimmy Butler has like came back from when he had COVID, this team, their defense, they've been one of the best defenses in the league. They've been winning a lot more games in the league in the past like few months, and you see everybody starting to roll together. It sucks that Victor Oladipo just got hurt, but I'm hyped because he's not out for a long time. It's only for like a couple of weeks, because when it looked like he hurt it looked like it was something bad, because he just dunked, hung on the rim, and came down on his knee, and then he's just limping after that. I'm like, yo, come on. Please don't be nothing torn. But happy it's nothing torn, so hopefully when they get him back in the playoffs, they can be really good. But since March 4th, Jimmy Butler has been averaging 25 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and 7 assists. He's been playing really good, and he doesn't really get talked about in the MVP race a lot. Mind you, it's not really no MVP race. It's just Joel Embiid and Jokic, but right now Jokic is just taking off, even though they just lost yesterday. It's not really a race, but Jimmy Butler is a player that doesn't really get talked about that much, and he's just having a quiet season, and he's been playing better than he did last year. And this Heat team, they kind of get overlooked because you got the 76ers being the number 2 seed, and you got the Nets with their super team. But I can definitely see this Heat team giving a lot of teams run in the playoffs. Like, I will put them over the Heat right now. I mean, I will put the Heat over the Bucks. But Jrue Holiday, I don't know, man. Jrue Holiday, that means a lot. Because Jrue Holiday been balling. I think he just got player of the month. He's been hooping lately. I will put the Heat over 76ers when they come in the playoffs. I'm not going to lie. I will put the Heat over 76ers. I just feel like they match up so perfectly when it comes to the 76ers. And then the depth is just way longer than the 76ers. And they got more experience. And I feel like Eric Spoelstra is a way better coach than Doc Rivers. I had a brainstorm right there. He's a way better coach than Doc Rivers, and I feel like Eric Spoelstra is his best when he's able to make adjustments. And I feel like they can definitely beat the 76ers team. A lot will be relying on Bam, though, because Bam will get that Joel Embiid assignment, and Joel Embiid this year is not playing with nobody. But I feel like the Heat can definitely beat the 76ers. Now, when it comes to the Nets, I don't know. When it comes to the Bucks, even though they beat them last year, I don't know. And the reason why I say that, Jrue Holiday is a big piece, especially when it comes to the playoffs. So I'm not going to put them over the Bucks yet. And I'm praying that Mike Budenholzer just changes it up in the playoffs. And Chris Middleton and Giannis can come into the playoffs and play like they do in the regular season. And with the Nets, I know the defense is going to be the problem, but they have so much star power, especially when they're fully healthy, that I really don't know how you stop them. Yes, you can just body them the whole game, but then they're going to come back on the other side of the ball and just kill you the whole game. So I don't know how you stop them. But I would definitely put the Heat over the 76ers as of now, even though I've been saying for so long, the 76ers and the Nets matchup, I'm taking the 76ers. But if the 76ers and the Heat matchup, I'm taking the Heat, because the Heat just match so perfectly with them. My next player, Rajon Rondo. This is the thing, bro. I was watching the Through the Wire podcast, right? I don't know if you guys watch that. It's another basketball podcast that you should watch. That's where I get my motivation from. That's why I started this whole podcast. But this dude Mike on there, he's a big Lakers fan. He was naming teams that he would be worried about when it comes to playoff time. And he said the Suns and the Nuggets. And then the one dude I always talk about on here, Pee Wee the Plug, he said, "You're not worried about the Clippers?" I'm paraphrasing, of course. He didn't say all this. It was a lot. It was like a 10-minute conversation. And he was like, "You're not worried about the Clippers?" He was like, "No, I'm not worried about them." He was like, "Why?" He was like, "When it comes down to the clutch moments or when it comes down to the fourth quarter, I'm not worried about the Clippers." I'm like, "Bro, what?" And I'm a Lakers fan. I'm looking at Mike. I'm like, "What, bro? What?" Like, I understand, bro. They had 1 year. Now, PG in the playoffs, last few years, he hasn't been really good. So you can use that in your argument, I guess. But we're not going to act like Kawhi just folds in the playoffs. We're not going to act like that. We're not going to act like that. And we're not going to act like he didn't just carry that Raptors team, who obviously should not have been there. But the East is just so weak. We're not going to act like he didn't carry that Raptors team to the finals. So I'm not going to say just because they had bad year or one bad playoff game that this team is just not that good and not a team to look out for. And now when you add Rajon Rondo to that, an all-star when it comes to the playoffs, it's like, bro, Rajon Rondo to the Clippers makes them like really scary when you go into the playoffs. Really scary. Because the thing that they needed was playmaking in the half court. The thing with the Clippers is they relied too much on Kawhi and Paul George, and when it got too heavy, they didn't step up. Well, you got Rajon Rondo now, so they really have no excuse this year. I'm gonna be honest, they have no excuse because they got what they needed. Rajon Rondo, when it comes to playoff, he's a playoff player. It's only a few playoff players. We got Chris Paul, we got LeBron, we got Jrue Holiday, we got Rondo. It's only a few. And the reason why I say it's only a few playoff players and I name those 4 players is because when it comes to I forgot Jamal Murray and I forgot Jokic. But when it comes to the playoffs, that's when they step up their game even more, even if they're the best in the world. When LeBron goes into the playoffs, he's basically unbeatable. Only reason why he lost, you face a great Warriors team. And hey, you face a Warriors team when your whole team is unhealthy. But when it comes to the playoffs, bro, there's not a lot of players that that really like step up their game like those players that I named. And Rajon Rondo is one of those players. And I feel like with this Clippers team, along with Rajon Rondo, this team is going to be scary in the playoffs. Ty Lue has had this team going really well, so I'm going to give him his credit. And I'm really excited for the playoffs, bro. I'm really excited because I feel like this Clippers team, right now, they're the team to be in the West. Yes, you got the Nuggets. They look really good. Yes, you got the Suns, who got Chris Paul. They look really good. But you got the Lakers, and yes, they are the defending champions. But you got to remember, our team, our two top players are coming back for an injury, which I will talk about later on. But yeah, this Clippers team is going to be the team to beat in the playoffs. Now, if they come out and play like ass, like they did last year, I will be pissed. I'll be pissed. Next we got is Chris Paul. I just talked about him a couple minutes ago. Chris Paul is one of those players that steps it up in a playoff game, and when you see he's starting to get into that mode now. Like in the last 10 games, he's been averaging 17 points, 8 assists, and two steals. And then the Suns in the last 10 games, they're 8-2. So he's starting to get in that playoff mode. Like you see when players starting to get in that mode. All right, now it's time to turn up because when CP3's in the playoffs, bro, he don't lose like that. He don't get to the finals though, but he don't lose like that. And him with this Suns team, I'm loving the way this Suns team's looking. I'm loving the way Devin Booker's looking. Devin Booker is looking like a monster the last couple of weeks. And I'm just excited for this Suns team, man. I feel like the Suns team can make a run. But the Suns, if the playoffs was the end today, like I said, I'm 1-6 right now. They might move, like one team might go above another team, but I feel like 1-6 right now is solidified. Jazz, Suns, Clippers, Nuggets, Lakers, Trailblazers. But I feel like the Suns and the Jazz, they got their number 1 and 2 is locked. 7 and 8, or 7 in the West. I mean 7, the 7 seed. I feel like that is locked too. The Mavericks can jump the Trailblazers, but I don't know. So the Suns will have to play the Mavericks in the first round. Boy, would that be a series. And I don't know who I would pick. I'll probably pick the Suns just because of Chris Paul. I'll probably pick the Suns just because of Chris Paul. And obviously because the rest of the team is like really good. But like Luka, yes, he had a great playoff series last year. But Chris Paul is made for this shit. He made for that playoffs. I would pick the Suns. But that would be that series would be so good. But like I said, yeah, Chris Paul is just a player that you really don't want to play in the playoffs. Because he's going to give it his all. And his team, he's a winner, bro. He's going to win. So, I'm loving the way they're looking. My last player to look out for going into the playoffs, Dame Dollar. I just talked about the Trailblazers, bro. They're 31-22. If you watch my preseason award predictions, I said Dame has the best team around him this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the MVP race, which he kind of is, kind of not. But this team is underachieving, bro. 31-22 is really bad for them. This team is well balanced. I know they've been dealing with a lot of injuries, but like even when the injuries came back, they haven't really been that good. Terry Stotts, I don't know. He might have to go. A lot of Trailblazers fans, they want him gone. He might have to go. But the reason why I got Dame on this list, and I'm not even gonna name you his stats lately, but when his team starts to like be down. Like when they're finding it hard to win a lot of games, that's when Dame steps it up, and that's when he really carries his team. Like if you look at last year in the bubble, this team, they were like the 10th seed, so like separated by obviously like 1 or 2 games, but they were like the 10th seed, and Dame was out there averaging like 45 points, like trying to get them boys to the playoffs, and he had to do that because CJ had his moments, but. I don't remember, but I feel like CJ was dealing with an injury at that time too. They didn't have Yusuf Nurkic, and the third best player was fucking Enes Kanter. So Dame had to really do his thing, and I'm looking at this team right now, and they're not really doing good at all. And if they want to keep their playoff spot and not have to go to the play-in game where they can lose, I feel like Dame in these next couple weeks leading into the playoffs, and especially going into the playoffs, Dame is going to start to step it up and start to get them big games that we seen last year. The 51s against the Lakers, and wasn't that the day That was the first game in the Staples Center after Kobe died. Rest in peace, Kobe. But like this is the period of time where we're about to start getting these big games from Dame Dollar, because this team's not looking that good. And he's going to have to carry a huge load. And that's something that he does on a daily, bro. He carries a huge load with this team. But the Portland Trailblazers don't make a deep run this year. Which, to me, I don't really see it. They got to give up on something. Terry Scott, he has to dip. CJ has to dip while his value was high as hell. Like, they got to give up something, because it's like, we've been doing this. They've been doing this for like 4 or 5 years. Like, they keep getting, they're a great team in the regular season. When it comes to the playoffs, they just don't have it enough to really do anything. Yes, you can go out that 1 year where they made the Western Conference Finals. What they do? Well, you seen what they did when they got there. They lost 4-0 to a team without KD, and it was just Steph, Clay, and Draymond. And don't get me started on that series. Draymond was the best player in that series. Draymond in that series was something serious. But yeah, if they don't have a deep run this year, Portland, they gotta do something. They gotta find the trade. They gotta do something. Now I'm going into the 5 teams to watch out for. I already talked about some of these teams, but the Mavericks, like I said, when Kristaps is doing his thing, Luka's doing his thing, and they got another contribution from somebody else, it's really hard to stop this team. And you see it a lot, especially when like Jalen Brunson on his shit. It's hard to stop this Mavericks team. It's hard. My next team, the Heat, like I said, experience, also depth, and then you see what Jimmy did last year. Like, when it comes to the big moments, he's there too, and he's starting to get into his playoff mode. So this Heat team looking kind of scary. If they can get more contribution from Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, that would be really great. But this team's looking really scary. Hopefully, Victor Oladipo comes back and plays decent, because he was playing decent before he got hurt. So hopefully he can come back, bring that action to this team. But next is the Bucks. Now, the reason why I got the Bucks on here, like I said earlier, but I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on this, Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday makes this team look like a real contender. Past few years, they've been relying on Giannis and Chris Middleton to carry, along with Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe is just not that type of player. Eric Bledsoe in the playoffs, he gets really limited, because when it comes to the playoffs, it's a lot of half-court basketball. Eric Bledsoe is not really a half-court player. He's more of a full-court player. He likes to run. He likes to get downhill, and which is nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to playing half-court basketball, he's just not there. But now you have one of the best half-court players, best half-court playmakers in this league, and you have him with one of the best players in the world and one of the best second options in the world. Now, if they lose this year, this is really for them. It's not a championship or bust year, because if they lose this year, I hope they finally realize that Michael Budenholzer is just not. He's not that coach. He's not that coach for them. But Jrue Holiday, he just means so much to this team. Another playmaker, another ball handler on the half court, and he allows his other stars to rest. Like, you really couldn't sit Chris Middleton or Giannis on the bench while you just have Eric Bledsoe out there with Brook Lopez or some shit. You really couldn't do that, because, like I said, Eric Bledsoe in the playoffs he's limited. He's not really that good in the playoffs. You can really let Giannis and Chris Middleton sit in the playoffs, because Jrue Holiday, he's going to be there. I don't expect Jrue Holiday to play bad in the playoffs or play bad like he did this in the beginning of the season. I feel like Jrue Holiday is going to have really good playoffs, and I feel like this Bucks team is going to surprise a lot of people. They found a hidden gem on their bench in Jordan Norwell. I've been saying it for a long time. I probably haven't said it on here, but they should really play him a lot more over a lot of people. I understand you signed Covington and he's a veteran to your team, but bro, I'm not saying Jordan Norwell is better, but he just fits better. He has a better shot, and yeah, he just has a better shot. That's what they need. They need shooting, to be honest. They need shooting. But they found their hidden gem in Jordan Norwell. He's been playing pretty good lately. The Nasus has been looking really good lately. I'm not going to lie. The Nasus is out to the Kupo. He earned his spot. A lot of people say he's in the league because, of course, Giannis. But, bro, even if Giannis would have left this season, I feel like the Nasus can get a little decent contract. He can get a little 5-year contract this year. I don't know if he's a free agent this year, but he can get a little $5 million contract, bro. He brings that energy and that defense off the bench. I'm liking what I'm saying for him. You got the boy Bobby Portis over there. Bobby Portis is a hooper, bro. He's a hooper. He fits so perfectly next to Giannis. Another shooter and a gritty player. Hopefully Brook Lopez can get back to where he was like a year ago. Like, I don't know what he's shooting on a year. I feel like he's having a down year again. But let me see. Averaging 11 points, 4 rebounds. Brook Lopez don't get his rebound. 11 points, 4 rebounds, and like 33% from the three. Where 2 years ago he shot 36. He was a sniper. But yeah, hopefully they can get him back up to where he was at. But I like this team, bro. This team's like well balanced. You got Brian Forbes off the bench, or Bryn Forbes. I don't know how you say his name. You got him off the bench. You got Dante DiVincenzo. He has his moments sometimes. So this team should be really decent going into the playoffs. But hopefully, if they don't do what they want to do, which is they want a championship, but to me, I don't feel like a championship will bust. But if they don't do what they want to do, hopefully they release Mike Budenholzer, because he is one of the main problems with this team. Next is the Suns. I already talked about them. Chris Paul, man. Chris Paul is going to mean a lot to the team. And Jay Crowder. I forgot to talk about him. Jay Crowder, he brings a lot to the team, bro. Veteran leadership, another sniper, another defender that can really guard 1 through 4. And he just helps out with the team. He helps out with the wings. So this Suns team is going to they're going to be a really scary team to play in the playoffs. Especially with D-Book. I feel like D-Book in them playoff moments, a lot of people say that Donovan Mitchell was better because we've seen him in that playoff moments, but I don't give a damn, bro. I'm not going to sit here and act like if D-Book goes to the playoffs, he's going to be trash. I'm not going to say that at all. D-Book is just better. And I feel like when it comes to the playoffs, he's going to show y'all why he is harder than D-Book. Not harder than Bradley, than Donovan Mitchell. It's harder than D-Book. He's going to show y'all. He's definitely going to show y'all. And my last team, talk about the Lakers. I talked about this, I want to say last video. I think so. The reason why I say it is we're going to be a team to look out for. It's just when we're healthy, I want to see how we look, especially with Drummond. Now, a lot of Lakers fans are starting to talk about like, wow, we might have made a mistake with this Drummond shit. And I want to say I told y'all so, but like, bro, Drummond is just, when it comes to IQ basketball, especially when he's not playing with nobody that can really put him in his place, it's just like, it's so hard to watch. But I feel like when LeBron comes back, he's gonna get put in his place. Like, they're gonna tell him, bro, you're here for rebounds, second chance points, and pick and roll lobs. You're not here for none of that face up point guard dribbles that you be trying to do, because you can't do that. You're not like that. So that's AD stuff. Don't touch that. You're not doing that. So hopefully when LeBron comes back, I feel like if he can get that installed to Andre Drummond's head, that pick and roll is gonna be damn near unstoppable. It's gonna be hard to guard, bro. It's gonna be if you get Andre Drummond that wants to win and like learns to win, because he hasn't really been on a winning team at all. You can say the Pistons just because they make the playoffs, but no, that's not no winning team. They were like 39-43. That's not no winning team. So if you get that installed to his head, this team with Andre Drummond can look really scary. And then hopefully AD comes back and just be the AD we know, because you even seen it in the beginning of the season. Like, he was healthy when it came to around the All-Star game, but like a lot of people didn't want to vote him into the All-Star game because he really wasn't having a good season. And you can kind of say that was because like we just won a championship 2 months ago. But yeah, that's actually a really good reason. So hopefully he can come back and play like he was in the playoffs and in this finals, because we're gonna really need that. This team looks deep, but we're not that deep, bro. This team's not all that, bro. This team's not all that. I like the Ben McLemore signing though. A real sniper. He just came in, dropped 17 in his first game, 5 threes. We're definitely gonna need that when it comes to the playoff time, because this West is stacked and you can literally lose to anybody in the playoffs. You can lose to anybody except the Jazz. I'm sorry, I'm not sitting here hating on the Jazz, but Jazz not all that. They not. They not. But other than that, that was the last part of this video. I want to say thank y'all again. Like and subscribe so we can keep growing as a community. Other than that, I'll talk to y'all later.